You'll hear a few ambient sounds of. We're in Cabbage Town in Atlanta, which is used to be a Irish enclave. Now it's quite a nice place to be. It's like a little forest monastery here. We're surrounded by trees, and it's nice. It's nice. Park right out in front of me. People out gathering in the park. You might hear them a few times. You'll hear sirens maybe or jet airplanes, but I think it's nice to do one outside. Hopefully work out. Mother's Day. Well, that was my mother and father in Venice that you saw, and in 1956, which was their 20th anniversary. I was 7 when they left. Uh, so, for all the mothers out there in the world, this is something we all share. Some woman carried all of us for somewhere around 9 months and put her life on hold to deliver this mystery. I mean, life is a mystery. This whole thing is a holy mystery, how we're here at all, how we're here from France to Washington State in one place. It's a mystery. Open yourself up to the mystery. So for all the mothers, and then for all of us, the women out there who are watching and are in the world who haven't really given birth to a child yet. So happy Mother's Day to you, and for all the men watching who it's not in this lifetime we're not going to have that experience. But to all of us, happy Mother's Day, because whether you thought about it or not, we all have one person to deliver into this world, all of us. And that's our authentic self, which is as much in us as we were in our mothers in a material sense. And we're all, in, utero right now, that authentic self, which is not like just something you bump into. It develops over time, and it's up for all of us to birth that authentic self. So happy Mother's Day to everybody. Hopefully you all feel included with this. And well, the Freud had this right, that the trauma of the fact that we got just to us, in the womb, abruptly, kicked out, abruptly disconnected from our mother during birth. As wonderful as that was, almost all of us are born at just the perfect time, whether it's early or late. Your mother's body, my mother, and your mother's body knew when to deliver you, you see, whether it was on the date or not. But for us, it was trauma, all of us. I was connected and then I didn't feel connected. They cut the cord. So we all go through that trauma and we're all looking for that reconnection. Freud had that much right. It wasn't all about sex. It was more about the fact of feeling connected and then disconnected. Einstein called this sense of disconnection that we have from the transcendent, which is all of this, he called that the optical delusion of human beings. Einstein. Einstein came from being working with physics to becoming a kind of mystic, as many modern physicists did. This is what happened with the relativity guys and the quantum guys who followed. They realized they could never really get it down on the chalkboard. They couldn't get the formula. That it was as much a great holy mystery as anything predictable. Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. We could never exactly come up with it on the page, on the chalkboard. And so a lot of them became like mystics, which is really, I think, everybody's destination when you understand what a mystic is. Somebody who sees this is all mystery, and so there's that, because you didn't understand biology and conception and all that, but there's a sense of, and the Tibetans bring this in, that when we leave this life, We go through an in-between stage called the Bardo, and then actually we choose. They say we choose the couple, our mothers and fathers, which is a very interesting concept. That Tibetans say we just are floating through there, and for one, and then we found these two people. I found those two people you saw there, and I decided, well, I want to come back into the world with those guys. Little did we know, nobody knows. It's a real like mystery on both ways. But so then we come into the picture. We come out of the transcendent into the incarnational world where we are now. But it's a total mystery. And then when we settle in, you know, in the tummy, it seems pretty cool. Cozy, waterbed, food on demand, low lighting. Maybe our mother is, you know, playing Vivaldi or something, or she's not, you know, stopped smoking or drinking or whatever. But it's sort of cool. It's, you know, we've forgotten the last life. We're homo amnesians in a way. We forget almost everything. And the Dalai Lama said he only remembered a couple things from his previous incarnation. That's not what transmits to the next one. It's your stage of ripening with finding the authentic self. That's one of the big things we are given birth to all the time with every action. When it's coming out of your center in your true self, every action we do develops that one that we're all supposed to give birth to. So it's quite a mystery. Well, I got a poem for this occasion. It's called The Hardest Thing. And I'll read it for you a couple times, and then we'll connect it to where we're going after this. This is the hardest thing. Even though the hardest thing we can do is to do nothing, let us leave the surface of things, and without leaving this body of ours, let us plunge into holy mystery. Plunge into that which heals. Plunge into the pattern that connects. Plunge into that which is. And even though it's the hardest thing we can do, let's just let God be God for a while. This is a kind of invocation for meditation, really. I've been working with some of these images in the last couple of sittings that we've done together. Even though the hardest thing we can do is to do nothing. I had one of my friends drop out of the session here. Hopefully he'll come back to me. He said, you know, I don't know, I just can't sit there and do nothing. I said, like, he's a 7 on the Enneagram, and I love, you know, great guy. But so I don't know, I just can't do nothing. He said, that's not in me. Well, it is the hardest thing we could do, even though the hardest thing we can do is to do nothing. In a minute or so, a few minutes, we're going to leave the surface of things. And without leaving this body of ours, plunge into holy mystery. And the second little bit, without leaving this body of ours, I think is important. There's a lot of kinds of meditation. And a lot of it is, you know, we have this split. We have this goofy idea. Humans have this goofy idea that there's a split between body and spirit, body and mind, body and soul. We have it all split up. And so this kind of meditation, hopefully, whether it's centering prayer or whatever form you're doing, it goes through the body. And it's not like we're trying to transcend. You know, transcendental meditation has some good things to it, but basically it's what the Hindus were doing when Buddha came on the scene. They said, let's get out of this veil of tears. Let's get out of this shithole and get to the good place. And so the body was thought of to be something that was in the way. I grew up that way as a Catholic. Anybody who's a Catholic knows that, and maybe Protestants too. the body is where sin happened, and let's, go to the holy place, the sacred, and then the body was profane. Well, this is not what, hopefully you're learning here. Oh, something there. Okay. The body's part of it. As a matter of fact, the body is the bridge. And we're always incarnate by it. We're not becoming, in meditation, you're not becoming spirits, you're not becoming angels or saints, but we're going through the body to have this meeting with the transcendent, with this holy mystery. So let's plunge into holy mystery, plunge into that which heals. These are all like different ways of saying the G word. Real healing happens in this meeting, and real healing is going to happen not on the physical sense, but we've got wounds, we've got traumas, we've got things we regret that are just stuffed in the old memory hole there, stuffed in the subconscious. And when we go down to meet, this act of just plunging into that which heals, it's where every therapist is trying to take us, every good therapist, because you can't heal things entirely just with thinking about them. Lord knows we all do that. That's part of the wound sometimes. So we're plunging into that which heals. We're plunging into the pattern that connects. Gregory Bateson, who was married to Margaret Mead, one of Margaret Mead's husbands, he was an anthropologist, and that was his image of the transcendent, the pattern which connects everything else, that connects us all here. Some people think it's the internet. Well, the internet is just a kind of icon of the divine, the transcendent, because it's the pattern that connects. That's what Bateson thought the divine was, the ultimate connectivity pattern. So plunge into the pattern that connects. And then finally plunge into that which is. That's almost an exact translation from what the Hindus, when they were talking about even something bigger than Brahman, who was their kind of God with a body kind of thing, like on the mountaintop. Brahman was even part of that which is. Thomas Keating's nickname for God became Izzy. He thought it was isness extended out to infinity. And Merton understood God that way too. He was on the train leaving New York City, going to his grandfather's house, and he was reading a book of medieval philosophy, and it totally blew his mind. Gilson's book on medieval, Etienne Gilson, French theologian, was writing about the 12th century Trappists and whatnot, and the medieval guys, and they thought that God was not a being. God was not even a supreme being. God was being itself. It just totally blew Merton's mind on the train going out to Long Island. God was not a being. God was not a supreme being. God was isness, was the pattern that connects all of us. Now that's a mind-blowing thing, because most of our resistance to the G word come because we have this small little picture that we got from our religions. Or talking about my sister, oldest sister Diane today, and she was in the second grade, the Catholic school we all went to, and and so, all right, children, we're in the second grade now. We've learned our letters, and I want you to write your first name and your entire last name on top of your paper. Well, she had to do Diane Sarantadello, and I don't know if she ran out of paper or ran out of words, but she couldn't do it. And then, now this is one of the twisted sisters maybe you ran into. I had some beautiful sisters, but there were some of them were sort of twisted. And she just ridiculed her in front of the whole class. They said, class, can you believe that a second grader could not write could be that stupid that they could not write her entire name, complete name, and things like that my sister's like in her 80s now. She's carried that her whole life. And I keep telling her that was garbage. But still, there's some deep wounds there. Sometimes it takes more than a lifetime, according to the Tibetans. The Tibetans say, look, if you get with the program here, they're talking about the Tibetan program, we guarantee that you'll make it in 16 lifetimes or less. We don't think about it. You get sort of depressed thinking about, I only got this one shot here. I'm so screwed up. I mean, forget it, why even try? Well, they say, you got a little wider view here that, this is not the only rodeo from their point of view. And they're saying, yeah, just keep making those decisions that birth that authentic self, and whatever you've achieved by checkout time, that's actually what gets forwarded on. That's what you retain. Plus, somehow an understanding of whatever system you studied, like the Dalai Lama 14 times around. He was a very bad student by his own admission, but yet it was all very familiar to him. All very familiar to him. And he made his tutors angry because they had to memorize a lot of text, and he wouldn't do it to the last minute. He'd speed read this stuff and then recite it perfectly. They knew he hadn't studied. He said they got so angry, but he didn't need to. And so some of us, there's no such thing as starting from scratch. Tabula rasa, that's somebody's conception, but we all came in on some level. We're all going to leave on some level. Hopefully, we're birthing the thing that we're meant to be, our authentic self. Because most of us, myself included, we're one way here and one way inside, and they're not quite connected. And that's the whole deal. That's why we do this in front of the heart, you see. This idea, the inside and the outside. And the heart is key. So we'll use this poem, I call it an invocation to meditation, as we go in to have this holy meeting where we can let healing happen. We can touch the pattern that connects and come out of it feeling more connected. And then, of course, we'll have our contemplative conversation. So sort of shift into meditation mode now. Set the timer here. And sometimes you need to change positions. It's good to start with some breathing again. Again, we're using the body as the bridge to leave the surface of things for a little while and have this meeting with the transcendent. And let the transcendent worry about what happens, you see. We're just trying to get there. Put ourselves present, open, and available in this space. Just keep with the breathing. Just breathing in through the nose, out through the pursed lips.